Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to see the next chapter of Lakshmikant, that is Amendment of the Constitution. So before going into topic, let us see some of the brief introduction regarding this Amendment of the Constitution. First of all, what is the meaning of the amendment? Amendments means adding something or deleting something or modifying something. So it means adding or deleting or modifying something. It is a simple meaning of the amendment. The students who are new to this polity, they do not know what is the meaning of the amendment. So I want to discuss what is the meaning of the amendment here. Amendment, in the simple words, it means adding or deleting or modifying some provisions of the constitution. It comes under the amendment. Here the amendment, it is different when compared to the article. Articles are the provisions which are present in the constitution, but whenever we are changing or modifying these articles, it is called as the amendment of the constitution. I hope it is clear. So let us see what is the need, why we have to go for the amendment of the constitution. As we know, the needs and the aspirations of the people will change from time to time, and these aspirations and these needs are to be reflected in the constitution. So we need this amendment of the constitution. So if at all the constitution is very rigid, that means we are going for the static constitution. So the constitution should be dynamic because it have to satisfy the needs and the aspirations of the coming generations as well, correct? So otherwise, if there is no amendment process to the constitution, it will resemble like a religious text which cannot be amended, which cannot be changed. So there is a need of the concept called as amendment of the constitution. So if you see in this lecture, we are going to see about Article 368. So whenever we are talking about the Article 368, it talks about the power of the Parliament mainly to amend the constitution regarding any provision, and it also talks about the process as well or the procedure as well. So if you see this Article 368, it talks about the power of Parliament. And it also talking about the procedure, and this procedure, it is unlimited. It is giving the unlimited power to the Parliament. So whenever I am saying the unlimited, later on in 1973 in the Keshwanand Bharati case, it is one of the important landmark judgment in the history of the India. So it says there is evolution of the basic structure doctrine through this judgment, that is Keshwanand Bharati versus Union of India 1973. So in this case, what happened, there is evolution of a basic structure doctrine. So in this basic structure doctrine, Supreme Court held that Parliament has the power to make any changes or amendment in any provisions of the constitution, but not change the basic structure of the constitution. So this is one of the important limitation of the Article 368. Article 368 says the power of the Parliament mainly to change the constitution and also according to the procedure which is given under Article 368, but not the basic structure of the Indian Constitution. And if you see during the Constitutional Assembly debates that are happening there, so there was two important choices that is left behind the Constituent Assembly founding fathers. They include, the first one is adopting the amendment of the constitution based on the England or the UK constitution, and the second one is USA constitution. So if you see the UK constitution, the amending process of the constitution, it is very easy and very simple. It can be done mainly as a of the ordinary law, mainly through the simple majority. So it is a very flexible constitution. So when you are talking about the Britain Constitution, we adopted the many important features of the Indian Constitution, or we borrowed the important features of the UK Constitution into the India. So if you are talking about the amending procedure of the Constitution, if you see in the United Kingdom, that is in Britain, it is mainly through the ordinary law, through the simple majority, and it is a very flexible constitution. On another side, if you see the USA Constitution, the amending procedure of the constitution, it is very rigid. It is very difficult process. So it is a very luxurious task that to be happen. So If you see one side the USA constitution, it is a very rigid, and one side this Britain constitution is a very flexible. If you see the position of the Indian constitution regarding this amending power, it is not too rigid like the USA and it is not too flexible like the Britain. It lies somewhere in between the USA and the Britain constitution. Okay. So this is an important thing regarding the amendment of the constitution, and I want to give you one important point regarding the prelims point of view regarding this amendment of the constitution. So if you see this article 368, it talks about only the power of the parliament but not the power of the state legislature. So it is only talking about the article 368, that is the power of the parliament, and this power it is not given or not vested with the state legislature. So if you see the USA, even the amendment of the constitution can be put forward by the state legislature, but in the Indian constitution it is only the power of the parliament but not the power of the state legislature. So this is the important thing that you should remember. So let us see what we are going to discuss in this lecture. We are going to see about article 368, and we are also going to see about amendment procedure that is present according to the article 368, and what are the different types of the majorities that are present, and we are going to see through which majorities we can amend the constitution. Let's get started with our lecture. So if you see the article 368, it is present in the part 20 of the Indian constitution, and it talks about the power of the parliament to amend the constitution, and it also contains its procedure. So this is the wordings that is present in the article 368, which is embedded in the part 20 of the Indian constitution. And if you see the next statement, it says, it states the parliament may, in exercise its constituent power, amend the way of the addition or variation or repeal any provision of the constitution accordance with the procedure which is laid down for this purpose. What is the meaning of this statement? So according to this, it says that according to the article 368, parliament have the power mainly to add or delete or do some variations in any provisions of the constitution, but it should follow the procedure which is laid under the article 368 of the constitution. And if you see the next statement, it says the parliament cannot amend those provisions which form the basic structure of the constitution, and this was ruled by the Supreme Court in the Keshwanand Bharati case of 1973. So already we studied that Keshwanand Bharati case that led to the birth of the basic structure doctrine. So according to this, the basic structure cannot be amended by the parliament, but any other provision which is other than this basic structure doctrine, that can be amended by the parliament. And if you see the procedure for the amendment, so first of all, this procedure, it is according to the article 368 of the Indian constitution. So the first important step is introduction of the bill. So this bill, it is introduced either of the house, that is either Lok Sabha or the Lok Sabha. Okay, so either the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha, this bill it is introduced, and later on this bill can be introduced either a minister or a private member. The private member means who is not a member in the house. So either by the minister or either by the private member. So one important point that you should remember here is there is no need of the prior recommendation of the president. So this is the important prelims fact. So whenever you want to introduce the constitutional amendment bill in the parliament, there is no need of the prior recommendation or the prior permission of the president. So if you see in the case of the money bill, if you want to introduce any money bill, there should be the prior permission of the president, it is required. But it is not in the case of the constitution amendment bill. Again, this is one of the important prelims fact. And the next important point is the bill must be passed in each house by a special majority. So what is a special majority here? The total, that is the 2/3 members of the present and the voting should vote according to the bill, and also they needs absolute majority as well. So if you read this statement, it clearly says that the bill must be passed in each house by a special majority, and that is a majority of the total membership of the house and the majority of the 2/3 of the members of the house which are present and voting. So this is a special majority, that is a 2/3 members who are present and voting, and also the more than 50% of the total membership of the house. So if you see the majorities, there are mainly three types of the majorities: simple majority, absolute majority, and special majority. In the special majority, we can see about three types of the special majority. If you see under Article 368, we can see two types of the special majority. And according to the Article 61 of the Indian Constitution, which talks about this another special majority. So whenever you are writing about the special majority regarding the amendment of the Constitution, you have to write special majority according to the Article 368 of the Indian Constitution. If at all you are not writing 368, it will go wrong. Okay, so please focus here. So according to this Article 368, we see there are two types of the majority. The first one is a 2/3 of the present and the voting, and the next one is 2/3 of the present and voting plus more than half of the state's ratification. That is very, very important regarding whenever we are going for the amendment of the Constitution with regards to the federal characteristics. So whenever you are talking about the amendment of the federal characteristics, so there is a permission that should be also given by the state legislature. So more than half of the state should ratify with this bill through the simple majority. So if you see this Article 61, it talks about the impeachment of the president. It is one of the difficult majority that you should obtain, mainly regarding the impeachment of the president. So if you see this Article 361, it talks about the majority which should be needed for the impeachment of the president, and that include 2/3 of the total members of the house. Okay, so the 2/3 of the members of the house, irrespective of the absentee and irrespective of the vacancies. So there should be the 2/3 of the majority that should be get under this Article 61 of the Indian Constitution. So these are the different types of the majority. So if you see the simple majority, that means more than 50% of the present and the voting. So to understand this, I will give you example here. So if you take the house, if in this house there are 300 members are present, so out of this 300 members, 200 are present. So if you see about the simple majority, that is more than 50% of the present and voting. That means if you see out of this 200, there should be the 101. If members they say okay, then congratulations, then your bill will be passed. And if you see the second one, that is absolute majority. In this absolute majority, there should be the more than 50% of the total members of the house. If you see the total members here, it is the 300 members. So to get the absolute majority, how many members should vote for you? That is about 151 members. Okay, there may be the irrespective of the absentees and irrespective of the vacancies. So the total member of the house, in that the half member should say okay, then only your bill get passed. And if you say special majority, that is about 2/3 of the present and voting. In this 200s, it may be around 134 to 135. Okay, so these are some of the important types of the majorities that you should remember. I hope it is clear now. So let us see the next important thing in the procedure. The first important one is each house must pass the bill separately. That means if at all the bill passed in the first house, then let us see the list procedure first. First, the bill which is introduced by either the minister or the private member in the house. Let us take for example Lok Sabha. In the Lok Sabha, there is a debate, there is a discussion, and there is a voting. And after this voting, if at all it is getting the special majority, and this bill it is passed in the first house. And later on, the bill which is introduced in the second house, in this case that is Rajya Sabha. And in the Rajya Sabha also there is a debate, discussion and voting. And after voting, if at all it is getting a special majority, and then the bill is set to be passed in the Rajya Sabha. And later on the bill will be sent to the president for the assent. And in this case, the president do not have any power regarding the introduction. During the introduction also there is no provision of the prior permission. And after the passing of the bill in both the houses, there is no veto power that is present with the president. So president do not have the power to resend back or send back for the reconsideration or kept him with the veto. So there is no veto power that is present with the president regarding this constitution amendment bill. So he have to make the sign, and after president keep his sign, then this bill becomes an act. Okay, so this is the process of the constitution amendment bill. So if you see the important provision here, each house must pass the bill separately, and in the case of any disagreement between the two houses, that means if you see in the language of the polity, it is called as deadlock. Whenever there is a deadlock happen between the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, there is no provision of the joint sitting. So if you see the provision of the joint sitting, it is stocked in the article 108 of the Indian Constitution. But this joint sitting, it is only present regarding the ordinary bill but not regarding the constitutional amendment bill. So there is no holding of the joint sitting by this in this constitutional amendment bill. So in the both the house, they should pass this bill separately. And the next important one is, if the bill seeks to amend the federal provisions of the constitution, and it must be even ratified by the state legislature, that too more than half of the states, that should ratified with a simple majority. So what is simple majority? That means more than 50 members of the house who are present and voting. So this is the simple majority. So if you see this, I want to give you one clarification here. So whenever the bill regarding the federal provisions of the constitution, the bill will be passed by the Lok Sabha, passed by the Rajya Sabha, and it will be sent to the each and every state which is present in the India. And it also contains the Delhi and Puducherry also. So if you see this Delhi and Puducherry, they have the legislative assembly or the Vidhan Sabha that is present in the Delhi and the Puducherry. So here this bill which is also sent to the Delhi and the Puducherry. So among this all the states, including this Delhi and the Puducherry, it should be more than half. So if there is a more than half, they said okay to the bill, then congratulations, the bill it is passed. Okay, so this is the process. And if you see the next important procedure that is given in this book is, after duly passed by the both the houses of the parliament and ratified by the state legislature, and this bill it is sent to the president for the assent. Assent means the signing, okay, and the president must give his assent to the bill, and he can neither his assent to the bill, he cannot give his assent. That means he should give the assent, and he should not return the bill for the reconsideration of the parliament. So there is no role of the president that is seen regarding this constitutional amendment bill. So after the president assent, then this bill becomes an act, and this constitution that stands amended accordance with the terms of the act. So this is the procedure of the following of the constitutional amendment bill, which is given under Article 368 of the Indian Constitution. So let us see the types of the amendments. Here if you see this Article 368, it gives about the two types of the amendments. So the first one is a special majority by the parliament, and the second one is a ratification by the half of the states by the simple majority. So these two are the important amendments which are talked in this Article 368. And there is also other amendment, that is simple majority. Through the simple majority also many provisions of the constitution that can be changed or amended, but it does not come under the Article 368 of the Indian Constitution. So if you see, therefore in the constitution, this constitution can be amended by the three ways. The first one is amendment by the simple majority of the parliament, and the second one is amendment by the special majority. It is also called as a moderate majority because it needs the absolute majority plus the special majority, that is a 2/3 of the present and voting. And the next one is the amendment by the special majority, that is 2/3 of the present and voting, and also the ratification of the half of the state legislature. So these are the three important methods by which the constitution can be amended. So let us see one by one in detail. The first one is by simple majority of the parliament. That means more than 50% of the members who are present in the voting in the parliament. So the first important one is, there are the number of the provisions in the constitution that can be amended by the simple majority of the houses of the parliament, but it will come outside the scope of the 368, Article 368. So there are some important provisions that you should remember, because these provisions are very, very important regarding the prelims point of view. So you have to remember at least some of them. The first one is admission of the state or establishment of the new states. It is very, very important, and this is also very relevant to the upcoming prelims. And the next one is a formation of the new states and alteration of the areas, boundaries or the names of the existence. So it comes under the part 1 of the Indian Constitution. And the next one is abolition or the creation of the legislative councils in the state. And also talking about the second schedules, it talks about the emoluments, allowances, privileges and so on, which are given for the president, governors, speakers and the judges, etc. And the next one is the quorum of the parliament. It is the minimum members that should require to conduct the session in the house. And the next one is the salaries and allowances of the members of the parliament, rules of the procedure in the parliament, privileges of the parliament and its members and its committees. And the next one is either use of the English language in the parliament, number of the puisne judges in the Supreme Court, conferment of the more jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, use of the official language, citizenship acquisition and the termination. It is important one. And the next one is election to the parliament and the state legislature, delimitation of the constituencies, union territories, 5th schedule and the 6th schedule. So these are all the provisions that can be easily amended by the simple majority. And if you see the next one, it is talking about the special majority, and this is a moderate majority. And it includes the two important things. First one is absolute majority plus a special majority. It talks about more than 2/3 of the present and the voting. So the majority of the provisions of this constitution needed to be amended by the special majority of the parliament, and that is a majority of the total membership of the each house, and also the majority of the 2/3 of the members of the each house who are present in the voting. That is, this formula you have to write somewhere. So the mainly, if you want to understand this, how to remember this, what are the provisions which can be amended by this special majority of the parliament, they are not covered in the first one, that is simple majority, and the third one. So these all comes under this special majority by the parliament. It is simple to understand. They include the fundamental rights, directive principles of the state policy, and also the other provisions which are not covered by the first and the third categories. So in this context, you have to remember about the fundamental rights and also the DPSP. So let us see the next one, that is talking about by special majority of the parliament and the consent of the state. So as we know, after the bill passed in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, and it is sent to all the states which are present in the India along with the Delhi and also Puducherry, because these two have the legislative assembly, that is Vidhan Sabha. So after this bill sent into this different states, and there is no time limit that is given to the state legislature. And also we see, if there is a more than half of the states with a simple majority, they ratified this bill, then this bill will be deemed to be passed. And if you see here, those provisions of the constitution which are mainly related to the federal structure, and it comes under the schedule 7 of the Indian Constitution. So whenever there is a provisions of the constitution which are mainly related to the federal structure of the polity, that can be amended by the special majority of the parliament, and also with the consent of the half of the state legislature by the simple majority, and this bill it is deemed to be passed. And there is no time limit with which the state should give their consent to the bill. So this is one of the important provision here. So let us see what are the provisions that can be amended through this way. The first one is election of the president and its manner. Next one is extent of the executive power of the union and the state regarding the Supreme Court and High Courts, and regarding the distribution of the legislative powers between the union and the states. And we are also talking about the GST Council and any list which are present in the according to the 7th schedule of the Indian Constitution. And this 7th schedule which talks about the 3 important lists: union list, state list and concurrent list. And it also talks about the representation of the states in the parliament, power of the parliament to amend the constitution and its procedure, which is the article 368 itself. And if you see there are many political leaders, or also we see there are many political analysts, they said some of the criticism regarding this amendment procedure. The first important one is the state legislature cannot initiate the bill, And if you see the Article 368, it gives only the power to the Parliament to amend the constitution but not the state legislature. And if you see, this state legislature also have the role in the amendment of the constitution in the USA but not in the India. So this is the first important drawback or criticism. And the second one is a major part of the constitution that can be amended by the Parliament either by the special majority or by the simple majority. Only when there is amendment regarding the federal character, then only the ratification by the state legislature taken into account, that too with a simple majority. And the next one is the constitution does not prescribe the time frame within which the state legislature should ratify or reject the amendment which is submitted to them. And the next one is there is no provision of the joint sitting. This joint sitting, it is present according to the Article 108 of the Indian Constitution, and this provision, it is present whenever there is a deadlock happen with the ordinary bill. And the process of the amendment, it is similar to that of the legislative process. We can also say that is a legislative prerogative that is seen regarding this constitutional amendment bill, because there is no role of president, no role of the president either in the introduction of the bill, either in the last giving the assent to this bill. So we can say there is a legislative prerogative that is seen regarding this constitutional amendment bill. By this we are concluding today. I hope you understand this lecture. Thank you so much, and please subscribe to my channel. Please do like, share and comment my videos. Thank you.